Are you ready for 4 MLB picks for Friday, June 20th? That includes a 5-star play that qualifies under the money-making scoring drought betting system? Well, you have come to the right place. I'm Professor MJ, holder of a PhD in statistics and bookie crusher since 1999. Let's get started with a prediction on the Baltimore Orioles versus the New York Yankees. Yesterday, New York snapped their 6-game losing streak with a victory over the Los Angeles Angels. This means they qualify under a betting system called the snapped losing streak number 1. Let's review its rules together. Bet any team that meets the following 3 criteria. First, they won their previous game after losing at least 6 in a row. Number 2, they must be facing a different ball club than yesterday. And finally, their money line today must be smaller than plus 175 because according to past data, this betting angle has not produced good results when backing big underdogs. Now that fits for New York because, like I said, they won yesterday against the Angels after dropping 6 consecutive matches. Now, after facing the Angels, they are now playing the Orioles, so it's a different opponent. And the line on New York is much, much smaller than plus 175. They are far from being a big underdog. In fact, they are fairly big favorites. And in the end, I've decided to go with the run line. So I'm taking the Yankees with the minus 1.5 run line, which means we need them to win this ball game by a margin of at least 2 runs for this wager to hit. Now, when I first researched this betting strategy, I obtained data on the 2010 to 2016 MLB seasons. So this means we had a 7-year data set. And in those 7 years, this betting strategy produced 24.59 units of profit via 81 bets only. So this means the return on investment was 30.4%, which is astounding. Then I started tracking the performance of this system in 2019 by myself. So every single day, I track the teams that fit under my 19 betting strategies, including this one, the snap losing streak number 1. And in those years, we obtained 5 more units of profit. Well, more precisely, 4.81. Now, what about last year? Last year, we had just 12 qualifying plays and they posted a 7-5 record for a profit of 1.98 units. And what about this season, the 2025 campaign? We've had 5 qualifying plays and we have obtained a 2-3 record for small losses. So over a long period of time, we have racked up very good profit, so I trust it a lot. Well, yesterday's win by the Yankees was much needed because the Rays were catching up with them. Tampa Bay is now 2.5 games behind the Yankees atop the AL East division, while the Blue Jays are 3 games behind only. Now, I agree that the Orioles are playing better baseball, but they still remain an inconsistent ball club. And of course, the pitching duel is great in our favor. Max Fried has been terrific. Outside of a rough outing at the LA Dodgers on May 30th, he has given up 2 runs or fewer in all of his other 14 starts. It doesn't get any better than this. So like I said, he had only 1 bad start, which was at the Dodgers, so this was a tough task to handle. Meanwhile, Tomoyuki, Sugano's first taste of the big leagues, is going pretty well, but are opposing offenses finding ways to exploit him right now? His season ERA is 3.38, but across his past 6 starts, his ERA has been 4.28. So I feel like other teams are finding ways to find some weaknesses in his game. Also, I don't like the fact that Sugano has recorded just 48 strikeouts in 80 innings of work. That's a bit concerning to me. So in the end, I've decided to go with the Yankees to win big They must be sick of losing, so they could blow out the Baltimore Orioles today. That's my first play of the day. Now, the next one concerns the Detroit-Tampa Bay game, and in this match, I've decided to side with the Rays money line. This is pretty much a toss-up game where the line is about the same on both sides, and I'm not ultra confident about this prediction. This is rated 2 stars out of 5, which means I feel like the expected ROI is around plus 2%. So it remains a good play, but not that great in my opinion. Well, obviously, the Rays were disappointing yesterday by losing 4-1, despite a great pitching duel. Tampa was sending Drew Rasmussen on the mound against the good old Charlie Morton that I expected to get blown out, but it simply did not happen. However, don't forget the rest factor here. Tampa played at home yesterday, and meanwhile, the Tigers played a doubleheader against the Pirates and then had to travel to Tampa Bay, so they may not be in top form, and that's one of the key reasons why I like Tampa in this spot. Also, we need to ask the following question. How will Jack Flaherty perform today? After a series of 3 games where he was superb, because in those 3 games he allowed just 1 run across 18 innings, well, he completely fell flat on his face in his last outing. He squandered 7 runs, including 3 long balls at home against the Reds. Also, it's worth noting that Flaherty has faced Tampa Bay on 2 occasions in his career, and in those games, he posted a bad 7.00 ERA. Now, Flaherty will be squaring off against Shane Baz, whose season numbers are not as good as Flaherty's. However, he produced a scoreless outing 5 days ago against the Mets in New York, so that's a good sign. And so for all of these reasons, I have a lean on the Tampa Bay Rays money line. Up next, pay attention, my friends, because we have a scoring drought betting alert. So I think it's worth ringing my lucky lobster bell. This is a 5-star play, which means it is viewed as a premium pick that I share at mjpicks.com. This is the place to go if you want all my 5-star plays of the day. Well, we are taking the Phillies money line. I know, again, I'm going to issue the same warning as I always do when we have a play that fits under the scoring drought betting system. I know this sounds unexciting because the odds are relatively low, but to me, profit is profit. And let's take a look at the hard numbers. Well, this season, this betting strategy, I'm going to reveal to you its rules in a few seconds, but by following the rules of the scoring drought betting system, this year we have posted a 21-3 record. Isn't that amazing? Last year, we presented a 31-14 record, and the year before, in 2023, we racked up 36 wins versus just 6 losses. So over those 3 years, we have accumulated a return on investment of about 20%, which is incredible. So I know the odds are low, and I also hate betting low odds, to be honest with you. I don't like betting big favorites, but this is one of the rare occasions where I absolutely love betting big favorites because it seems like this betting strategy is onto something. It picks teams very wisely. Now let's review the system's rules together in case you missed prior videos. Fade the road team if they lost their past 2 games by scoring 2 runs or less in each of those defeats, and if their money line today is greater than plus 150. All right, so who is the road team today? The New York Mets. Now, did they lose their past 2 games by scoring 2 runs or less in each of those defeats? The answer is yes, because they lost their past 2 contests by scoring 0 and 1 run respectively. And finally, New York's money line is indeed greater than plus 150. So we must fade the Mets, and that explains the Phillies pick for today. All right, so right now the Mets are undergoing an ugly 6-game losing streak. And prior to that, they picked up 6 consecutive victories, but they took place against the lowly Rockies and Nationals. Now, on the other hand, Philadelphia has returned to his winning ways. They have won 7 of their past 8 games overall after a horrendous run. From May 29th until June 10th, the Phillies obtained a bad 2-10 record. But that seems to be in the past. And of course, we have a huge pitching advantage. Zack Wheeler will take the mound for the Phillies. He will be facing his former club, so that adds some extra motivation. And he's also been in top form in 2025, as evidenced by a solid 2.76 ERA and a stellar 0.89 whip stat. Wheeler's opponent will be Blade Tidwell. His first experience in the big leagues is a debut that he would rather forget. He was hit to all parts of Busch Stadium. In the end, he gave up 9 hits, 6 runs in less than 4 innings on the mound. So I strongly believe that the Phillies will extend New York's misery. I fully expect Philly to win this game. And again, no, I am not taking the run line. I have been burned too often in the past. I mentioned early in the 2025 season how I was quitting taking the run line whenever we have a play that fits under the scoring drought system. Okay, this system was built based on moneyline bets, and it has shown that it works very well. Now, in recent years, like last season and the year before, I had a tendency to get greedy by picking the run line, and there were many games where our team won by a 1-run margin, which means that my run line bet lost, even though I would have won my moneyline bet. So that's enough. I'm not doing it again. I don't recommend doing it. All right, now my fourth pick is over 7.5 runs to be scored in the Boston-San Francisco game. Now, don't get me wrong. Both Hunter Dobbins and Hayden Birdsong have done a good job so far. But when you take a step back, you realize that we have a pretty low total of 7.5 in a game that features 2 pretty good offenses against a couple of hurlers who are very inexperienced. Now, Dobbins is a rookie, and meanwhile, Birdsong is a reliever turned into a starter with just 21 starts under his belt. So that's not a lot of experience. I know that both have done a pretty good job, but don't you think that one of them might blow up? He might allow many runs today. I feel like that could certainly happen given how both teams are pretty good at putting runs on the board. By the way, Birdsong's season ERA is 2.79, which is obviously great. But if you focus on his last 4 appearances on the mound, his ERA has been 4.05. So I feel like it's worth taking a shot on the over in this game. As you can see, this play is rated 2 stars out of 5, so I don't have a huge confidence about this prediction, but to me it still holds maybe a plus 2% ROI. So there you go with my 4 picks for Friday, June 20th. Now I have a busy weekend as my oldest son is playing a baseball tournament out of town, which should be very exciting. His team lost its first game by a 5-4 score. In their second game of the season, they tied 2-2, and since then they have been rolling by winning 6 consecutive games, including demolishing a team that was unbeaten by a 12-2 score. I feel like they have taken some big strides. They are improving a lot. This group of young players is really wants to improve, so it's really fun. I'm the head coach of the team, and it feels fun to teach them some tips because they are listening to what I'm saying, which is, of course, great. So wish us good luck. We're hoping to come back with a championship. That would be so great. Now, meanwhile, I wish you a great weekend, my friend. I'll be back on Monday with more MLB predictions. So I invite you to comment below. I would love to hear your favorite picks of the day, or if you have any other comment about what I do, that would be appreciated. And if you have not done it already, subscribe to this sports betting channel hosted by a former university statistics teacher. All right, thanks very much. I'm Professor MJ. Have a great weekend, folks.